You know that feeling when you walk past a stone statue in some city square and it almost feels like it's looking back at you? Like it's holding onto a secret that it's just on the verge of telling? Well, welcome to today's explainer on Myths in Stone. We're going on a visual journey through a breathtaking photography collection where myth literally meets matter. We're not just looking at pictures of old monuments here. No, we are diving into a world where solid rock becomes an image, and that image becomes a lasting memory of beings that have existed right on the edge of reality and imagination for centuries. Just take a look at this stunning composition titled Vanity. Notice how there's a human silhouette sitting right at the center, completely filled with the deep, quiet mystery of nature. Mountains, forests, the setting sun. And surrounding this human consciousness are these timeless forms of mythology. We've got the delicate mermaid, the fierce dragon, the powerful Triton, and the totally enigmatic Sphinx. This tells us right off the bat that we're dealing with a world devoted to timeless forms. These creatures aren't just random fantasy. They are the literal, physical embodiments of the natural world and human imagination colliding.
And that actually brings us to a really profound realization. These aren't just old statues. They are physical memories passed down from generation to generation. Think about the quote here. Before stories were written down, they were carved into stone. It's wild to think about, but stone carving is absolutely one of humanity's oldest forms of communication. It predates written language by tens of thousands of years. Long before anyone was putting words to parchment, our deepest fears, hopes, and stories were literally being shaped into rock. When we look at these carvings, we're looking at the very first language our ancestors used to communicate the unexplainable. So, let's get right into it with our first section, where myth meets matter. To really grasp this, we have to kind of rewire how we think about mythology. It's not some distant dead past from an old textbook. It's a living language of symbols. When gods, monsters, and mysterious beings get carved into stone, they completely transform our ordinary physical spaces. A regular fountain, a building facade, a normal public square, they become places of everyday wonder. Because every creature carries a story, and every form holds a very specific meaning. So as we go through this explainer, remember, we're exploring these figures not just as cool art, but as actual physical traces of our endless desire to understand the great unknown. We'll begin our descent right at the boundaries of the sea. Take the mermaid from Edernay. It's honestly a bit surreal to see her. Here is this creature of the deep, right? Just frozen in the middle of a bustling, modern street, completely indifferent to the shoppers walking by. Her image carries this incredible delicacy and mystery. The sculpture has somehow managed to take hard, unforgiving stone and use it to literally freeze the movement of water. The tail, the waves, the human figure, it all merges into this single form that feels like it belongs way more to a dream than to a city center. Mermaids have always symbolized our attraction to something we glimpse for just a split second before it disappears beneath the surface. But as we know, the sea isn't always gentle. In stark contrast, we have the Tritons of Valletta. If the mermaid is the quiet mystery of the ocean, the Triton is its roaring, undeniable energy. Just look at the sheer tension in their stone muscles as they hold up that massive basin with water cascading all around them. The Triton completely merges with the sea, turning the stone into a symbol of the ocean's raw, unbridled power. He doesn't just live in the water, he's its guardian, its physical extension. When we put them side by side, we really see the full spectrum of our relationship with the ocean. On one hand, the mermaid captures our gentle curiosity. She's delicate, representing the quiet boundary of two worlds, like frozen water. On the other hand, the Triton demands our profound respect for nature's raw power. It's all strength, movement, and majestic force. Through just these two figures, mythology absolutely nails our awe of the untamed deep. Moving away from the water, we step into our next realm, Guardians of the Unknown. So, leaving the ocean behind, we step onto firmer and far more dangerous ground. These are Varna's dragons, silhouetted against the twilight sky. They stand directly between humanity and the mysteries we just cannot comprehend. Notice how they're locked in this incredibly dynamic pose over a mysterious sphere or maybe an egg. The dragon is easily one of the most universally recognized creatures of human imagination. With their wings, scales, and claws, they become symbols of absolutely untamed nature. They don't entirely belong to the human world, but they don't exactly belong to the gods either. There's a really fascinating duality at play here. A dragon is never simply just a monster. It's a magnificent symbol protecting what's hidden. They have the power to guard, absolutely,
but they equally have the power to destroy. And because they sit on that razor-thin boundary, we feel fear and fascination at the exact same time when we look at them. We are terrified of their destructive capability, yet we're utterly drawn to their majesty. They challenge us. They protect the unknown from anyone who just isn't ready to face it.
Which brings us to a completely different kind of presence, the silent witness.
As we journey deeper into the unknown, all that dynamic, roaring power fades into this profound, almost psychological stillness. Here we meet Plovdiv's Sphinx. This is a figure standing right between the human world and the void, embodying absolute mystery and the relentless passage of time. Its body is perfectly still, its posture is rigid, and its face is completely enigmatic. It has this monumental form that instantly hits you with a sense of eternity. Unlike the dragons that are caught in a moment of fierce action, Plovdiv Sphinx feels like it's been sitting there for 1,000 years. And, well, it's gonna sit there for 1,000 more.
And this brings us to a somewhat chilling, yet fascinating realization that totally flips our entire perspective. The Sphinx was not created simply to be observed. It was created to observe. When you look at its unblinking, calm expression, it dawns on you that you are the subject. It stands between our world and the unknown, acting as a silent witness to our fleeting, fast-paced little lives, while it just remains deeply, firmly rooted in eternity.
It's this silence that challenges us to look deeper. I mean, you understand a Triton's power, right? You understand a dragon's danger. But the Sphinx, it reveals absolutely nothing. Instead, it asks questions. It forces us to confront what we truly believe we know about the visible world. It doesn't belong to a single moment in time. It sits entirely outside of it. So, let's pull all these threads together in our final section, between memory and myth. Ultimately, these creatures are so much more than just decorative art. They are the physical, tangible traces of humanity's deepest desire to understand the great unknown, from the silhouettes of gods to the fluid sea creatures, from the fierce dragons to the ancient observing figures, and finally, to the pure silence of the Sphinx. Somewhere between memory and myth, humanity needed a way to process the magic, the danger, and the mystery of our world. So what did we do? We took the hardest, most enduring material we could find, stone, and we literally carved our imagination right into it.
I'll leave you with this lingering thought to chew on. Somewhere between memory and myth, as the Sphinx watches in silence, what legacy are we carving into the world today? These stones have remembered the stories of gods and monsters for centuries. They have literally witnessed generations come and go. So the next time you pass a statue in your city, take a second. Look closely. It might just be looking back, waiting to remember your story. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep observing, and I'll catch you next time.